Hey guys, welcome to Series World. Today I'm going to explain a mystery thriller series called Burning Body from 2023. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The fifth episode opens with Pedro and Rosa having Christmas dinner alone. Rosa is upset that Sofia is not with her, but with Javi. Pedro tells her to cheer up as they'll get her tomorrow. Pedro is finally able to cheer her up, and they start eating their Christmas cake, trying to find interesting trinkets inside. After they're done eating the cake, Rosa hears the sound of a motorbike outside. She gets up and tells Pedro that she'll now dance for him. Rosa starts moving her body and gets closer to Pedro. He puts his hands on her waist and they start making out. Meanwhile, Rosa's eyes are on Albert, who is watching all of this from outside the window. Albert is enraged, understandably. He leaves the place and goes to his place. Texts Rosa some threatening messages right after entering the house. The scene changes to Rosa telling her superior that she's anxious because she's going to break up with Albert. Her officer now understands why Albert went on a vacation. He assures Rosa that he'll see what he can do for her. The scene changes to Albert in a swimming pool party in a resort. He is sitting with two girls in his arms. He kisses both of them. Later, he ends up in bed with one of the girls. He gets up from the bed and texts Rosa that he thought he would change for her, take care of her and her kid and live together with them. But she chose Pedro over him. Now, every time he sees Pedro at the precinct, he thinks of them together. Rosa texts him back saying Pedro doesn't have her and it's only on the outside. She adds that she'll forever be Albert's. Albert is frustrated again seeing her reply. He takes a screenshot of the text and sends it to Pedro. Pedro can't believe his eyes and goes to confront Rosa about the texts. Even though Rosa denies sending the texts, he's understandably very furious. He's worried that he'll lose custody of his son because of Rosa. Furious, Pedro leaves the house, leaving sobbing Rosa behind. At present, Sylvia is telling Esther that Pedro falls in love like a 15-year-old. He liked the small things, and he was a perfectionist in his relationships. So, it's hard to believe that he had no problems with Rosa. Later, Pedro's colleague also gives his statement, saying it was weird between Pedro and Rosa. Rosa was not what Pedro expected, and something was going on between Rosa and Albert. Esther asks how Pedro felt about Rosa and Albert. Nestor replies that he left her. He then shows a text he got from Pedro and says that this text doesn't seem like something Pedro would send, as Pedro was more of a voice message preferring guy. Moreover, he sent him the text right after he called Pedro. Pedro didn't pick up the phone. The scene changes to Esther talking to her colleague about how Rosa answered him on the 2nd, but Rosa said Pedro couldn't answer on the 2nd. The scene changes to Albert watching the news of Pedro and Rosa's case. He then calls Rosa, but she doesn't pick up. His friend comes up to him to inform him that his brother is waiting for him downstairs. His friend is a bit suspicious as Albert never mentioned his brother to him. Albert brushes it off, saying he must have forgotten. Albert meets with his brother, who has just gotten out of jail. Albert asks him about what he plans to do now. He assures him that he won't return to jail and will remain clean from now on. Moreover, a buddy of his whom he met in prison managed a legit job for him too. Albert understands, but asks what he needs from him. His brother requests him, saying that he doesn't have any place to live. Albert is supportive and he takes him with him. The scene cuts to Rosa, who's talking with Esther. Rosa tells her how her parents are worried about her after giving their statement. Esther understands, but requests Rosa to cooperate a little more. Esther asks her what was the name of the shop that Pedro had to make a payment on the 2nd. Rosa replies that it was Navarro. Esther ends the conversation with Rosa, assuring her that they're closer to the conclusion, and she'll update her as soon as she gets any new updates. Sofia comes to Rosa from outside and lies down beside her. She requests her to take her to the park. Rosa rejects going to the park, saying she'll take her somewhere better. The scene changes to Rosa and Sofia enjoying themselves in an amusement park. Flashbacks show Pedro playing with his son. Sylvia comes up to them ready to leave. She asks Pedro why he was living at his mother's place instead of living with Rosa. He tries to avoid the topic, and Sylvia stops pushing for an answer. She tells him to leave within 1 hour before she comes back home. The scene changes to Rosa leaving Sofia at Javi's place. Javi requests Rosa to let Sofia stay for the dinner, but she rejects, saying she'll come back to pick her up at 6 p.m. In the car, she texts Pedro, saying she was lost before meeting him and she loves him very much. Back at home, Rosa is in front of the mirror when she hears the sound of a motorbike engine revving. Pedro enters the house and they patch up and tell each other sorry. After kissing, Pedro picks up Rosa and goes inside. The scene cuts to Pedro and Nestor biking to a place. Pedro tells Nestor that he'll marry Rosa and asks him to be his best man. Nestor is not happy with his decision and tells him to rethink, as Rosa is known for playing around. Pedro explains that she's like this because she hasn't found the right man yet, but now he's here for her. Nestor then informs Pedro why Rosa left her previous precinct. The scene changes to Pedro introducing his lawyer friend named Alvaro to Rosa. He tells her that Alvaro will help her with the lawsuit against Manu. Rosa is quite taken aback by the fact that Pedro knows about what happened with Manu. Later, while they're doing the dishes together, Rosa tells him that she didn't know how to tell him about the case, and it happened a long time ago too. Pedro understands and gives her full support to get Manu. Pedro asks her whether he can put his trust in her. Rosa assures him that he can. To show her that she can trust him too, he tells her his password. Rosa smiles and shows her password on the phone too. Later, when Pedro is watching TV, Rosa tells him that she's going to bed. Pedro tells her to sit with him on the couch. After Rosa sits, Pedro whispers in her ears whether she'll marry him. Rosa at first thinks he's joking, but later he makes her accept his proposal. She asks him where her ring is, and Pedro tells her to wait, as it will be the best one she has ever seen. In the morning, Rosa comes back to the house from outside. Pedro greets her with Sofia and his own son. Rosa tells him that she went to the spa, and in the supermarket she met with her parents. Her parents enter the house and they start chatting with Pedro. They also compliment his son on how similar they look. While they're talking outside, Rosa goes inside and brings out her secret phone. She has got 14 unread messages from an unknown number. While Pedro is relaxing after taking medication for his back, Rosa has gone to meet with Albert. They talk about Rosa taking Manu to court. Albert asks him whether she's still dating Pedro. Rosa shows the ring on her finger to him. Albert is frustrated seeing this. Rosa also acts confused as to why she even came to his place. She tells him that she'll leave. She does leave the house but keeps looking at Albert through his window while standing in front of her car. The scene then cuts to them making love on the couch. The scene changes again to Albert talking with his brother about how he has a girlfriend. And it's pretty serious. They've already seen a house too. His brother is quite impressed that Albert has it all. The house, the girlfriend, and a prestigious job. He's very proud of Albert and wishes to have this for him too. He promises to Albert that from then on, he'll focus on changing his life. Meanwhile, Rosa is talking with Almu about how she's trying to distract Sofia from all this mess by taking her to theme parks and everything. Almu asks her whether there's any update from Esther. Rosa replies that even if Esther has gotten any clue, she won't tell that to Rosa. Flashbacks show Rosa showing off the engagement ring Pedro gave her to her friends. While they're talking about how pretty the ring is, Albert comes up to them and places another engagement ring box in front of Rosa. He tells her to think about it and leaves. Her friends awkwardly laugh, and they are confused too. Almu asks her why she didn't tell her before. Rosa pretends not to know that Albert likes her. She then shows her friends that the rings were lookalikes. Later, while Rosa is watching TV with Pedro, he falls asleep. Rosa gets up and goes to the washroom. She wears the ring that Albert gave her and takes some suggestive pictures of her. Albert was brushing his teeth when he sees the picture. He also sends her pictures of his private organs. The scene cuts to an operating room. While Pedro is having his back operation, Rosa is being intimate with Albert. The scene cuts to Rosa taking care of Pedro's post-surgery wounds. He starts rubbing her leg and tells her that it's time for them to make babies. Rosa doesn't pay any heed to this. She gets up and goes on to take her birth control pills. The scene changes to Albert and Rosa naked in his bed. Rosa asks him whether he'll let her have his babies. He says he'll, but asks her whether she's really going to marry Pedro. Rosa tells him that Pedro doesn't even let her breathe. He's now obsessed with Javi's car and is always going on about cars. Albert wishes that Pedro would buy a car and then crash and die. Hearing this, Rosa starts laughing. At present, a woman is informing Esther that they couldn't even find an online draft. Esther tells the woman to look at other information too. Her partner comes and informs her that no one heard from Pedro on the 2nd, but he was active the day before. On the 2nd day, he was supposed to drop by the workshop, but he arrived there after the workshop closed and put the money in the mailbox before leaving. He has never done that before, as he likes to chat with the owner of the workshop too. Esther realizes that Rosa's parents lied for her, so she tells her partner to bring them in for another statement. The scene cuts to Juan asking why they were brought in again. Esther explains that new information has come to light, and they need to take their statement again. Juan tells her that they've seen Pedro on May 2nd. They even waved at him. Esther then asks Rosa's mom whether she can confirm Juan's statement. Her mom starts getting nervous and tells her that she is not clear about the date. Esther tells her to be precise, as others have confirmed that no one has seen Pedro on the 2nd. But there's plenty of evidence that Pedro was alive on the previous day. Juan gets furious and asks her whether she's suggesting he lie for them so the story fits. Esther corrects him, saying she wants them to not lie as it won't be beneficial for either party. Hearing this, Rosa's mom breaks down. The scene changes to Rosa playing hide and seek with Sophia in their backyard, while police cars are heading to their home. Police also arrive at the changing room of Albert and other police officers. They tell the other officers to leave the room. Back to Rosa, she's done with counting 10 and ready to find Sophia. But she sees that Esther and other police officers are here for her. They tell her that she needs to go with them. Rosa requests Esther not to arrest her in front of her daughter, so another officer looks after Sophia while they put her in the police car. Albert is also arrested, but not in his uniform. His brother sees him getting arrested and taken away. Sophia also runs up to the police car where Rosa is. Rosa smiles at her and tries to assure her. The episode ends with the police car driving away, leaving Sophia behind. To watch more explanations of these kinds of series, click on the videos on your screen. And don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And at last, thanks for watching.